Yo, what up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. It is hump day, as usual. We got a great show for you guys going on tonight. We got a special guest in the house. I'll get to him in a second. But let's see who we got in the chat. We got Next Gen Nero, Punty050, FarQ, and FarQ2. We got Treybone4008. Treybone408 says, I don't care if people voice their opinions. I'm just tired of the doom and gloom. And this studio could be next to shut down and COD not going to Game Pass. Did people not learn from the last doom and gloom? I agree. I agree. But there's, at the same time, there's so many different ways to look at this situation. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, and everyone is entitled to their opinion, because while I do agree with that opinion, there are other things I also agree with, but we'll get into that in a second. First, let's introduce our special guest for the evening. He is the host, or one of the hosts, or the brainchild, I should say, behind Aim Down Sights podcast up on YouTube. He is the man, the myth, the legend behind Game Pass Daily. He is a brilliant mind, in my opinion, within the world of gaming and entertainment, and I am very, very honored to have him on the show once again and this evening. So without further ado, I introduce to you my bro within gaming and entertainment, Mr. Retry. Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
I need like a soundboard for like do 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 do.
Like confetti and
Yeah.
balloons and shit. Little fireworks show. What's up, my bald brother from London? Fire Q. What's going on, brother?
Right. I need like the whole 9 yards when introducing people. Yeah. So we'll see if
I always feel like when I introduce people to like on our shows, like I always feel like I'm underserving them. Like I always like the Iron Lords always come up with like these all these awesome names for people, and I'm like, I don't have time for that shit, but I gotta think of some better ways to like prop up our people as I introduce them, but it's hard to think about on the fly. But thanks for having me, Dusty. Appreciate it, man. I'm definitely excited to talk about. Well, I'm excited and not excited to talk about some of these. Honestly, I'm just like, I'm no joke. I've been kind of avoiding the internet a little bit. There's so much toxic bullshit going on, and I don't want to call it. I hate when people say fake outrage too, because I do think there's a lot of people I trust where I think there's some real outrage from people that I believe are truly pissed off at what's happening with Microsoft and Xbox. I'm glad I wasn't on the show right away when all this shit went down, because I needed some time to digest what was going on and think about it before I reacted. I'm a very reactionary person. I'm Irish, so everything just blurts out my fucking mouth. That's why I don't have a filter whatsoever. And I probably would have said some stupid shit. So I'm glad I've had some time to think about everything that's been going on and contemplate and watch everyone else lose their minds and just, kind of land somewhere in the middle on this whole thing. But I think both sides have good points, and we'll definitely discuss that stuff tonight. But excited to be here, man, and talk about gaming and stuff. I love this shit, man.
Well, we got good topics for everyone tonight. We will be discussing the title. In the title, I said that the layoffs, caused turmoil. What I was really referring to, because you only get so many characters in the title, is causes turmoil within the community. So we're not only going to be talking about the business side of things, we're going to be talking about the Twitter side of things, because
I like that shit, because that's the nasty side right now. It's
so
the Twitter
funny.
side.
It's so funny. And it's such a shit show. It's so hilarious.
Such a shit show, bro.
I may call somebody out, but it's just like
they're saying your mic is low, Dusty. I don't know if you can crank your stuff up.
Is this better, y'all? Because I have a thing in front of my thing. Oh wait, why is it doing that? Hold on.
I mean, you sound great to me, but sometimes when
Yeah.
it goes out, it doesn't sound as good to other people.
Well, no.
For whatever reason.
Okay. Is that better, everyone? Can everyone hear me? I'm trying not to
Let us
peek.
know, FARQ.
Yeah. I added the screen in front of my microphone again, but see if that helps, makes a difference. Who knows? All right. But yeah, so no,
What's
like
up, boys?
we'll not
Poison
only
dish.
we'll not only be talking about and discussing the like I said, the business side of things, but we'll also be discussing the like I said, the Twitter side of things and the turmoil within the Xbox, or I should say the fake Xbox community, because you know, it's like being if anybody understands this reference, it's like being a Lakers fan. Better now? Thank you, everybody. It's like being a Lakers fan. We don't win every year. We don't get the chip every year. And we love to hate our own coaching staff and this and that, but you're a true Lakers fan and you never give up on this team. And when we finally get to the finals again and we're able to win, we celebrate. But fake Laker fans, they pick another team because they can't do this. They hate on one.
Yeah, we call them. Yeah,
you
that's
know,
a fair
bandwagon
weather fan. That's not a real
bandwagon
fan. Fair weather
fans.
fans are not real.
Yes.
Yeah, bandwagon fans are not real fans.
No,
it's like the bus full of girls that all of a sudden fucking like sports when the team's winning. Like no. You weren't here.
Yeah.
You weren't here the last 20 years when we were getting our ass kicked. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't appreciate this moment like the rest of us actually do. And so with that being said, when it comes to Xbox, yeah, this shit sucks, but it's business and it's not like it's the first time it's happened and it's not the only company that's had to make these decisions, Sony, PlayStation. So it's just like,
I mean, fucking Sony shut down Japan studio.
Bruh,
the Japan publisher shut down the Japan studio.
I know, like, cause even
okay.
I forgot who it was on Twitter. They were like, it was a good point, but they said Xbox, shut down its only Japanese studio when they're trying to get into more Japanese development or the market, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But you're saying it and acting like they're the only ones who've done this.
No, but here's the thing, though, Dusty. I agree with that sentiment, and that's my
I do too.
biggest problem with this.
It's not a bad statement. It's just like same energy,
but Sony doesn't
type thing.
Yeah, the same energy thing. Except the problem is that Sony already has a place in Japan. They're fine. Like they don't need to make up 20, 30 years of history of getting their ass kicked there. Microsoft does. I've been a proponent for years talking about Tango and how I actually wanted Microsoft to expand Tango, make Tango a publisher. I wanted Tango to be the epicenter for Japanese games for Xbox. And I'm scratching my head. I look, I understand the business. I'm a numbers guy, right? So
yes.
I always look at numbers. I look at sales. I look at why they would shut something down. I look at why 1,900 people, everyone else was fucking screaming bloody murder about the 1,900 layoffs. I actually did fucking research and found out that ABK had hired over 8,000 new employees after COVID. And that's unprecedented, and that's why a lot of these people were let go for duplicate positions. And in fact, that every time there's a merger, positions are lost. Everyone knew this was coming, right? Anyone who knows anything about business knew that there was going to be some layoffs. And I remember being on C Money's show, and they asked me, 1,900 is a lot. Do you think there'll be more layoffs? And I said, I didn't even skip a beat. I said, oh, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you think there's gonna be more layoffs for Xbox? Oh, yeah, definitely.
See,
why? Because we just had unprecedented growth. Because we had growth that's never happened in gaming ever. And when you're up here, you got no place to go but down.
And that's
of course there was gonna be more jobs lost.
And that's why
I just don't like what jobs were lost. Essentially, I'm picking and choosing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's also why like everybody's acting really surprised, by this. But it was expected.
They shouldn't be.
When
they should not.
Who knew? But like this was expected because the merger, changes within the company, bringing everyone. Well, not everyone, but bringing all of it together in a way that they feel is cohesive for them. However, where the ball was dropped from a fan's perspective is letting studios go that created great IP and content for us. However,
Yeah.
from a business perspective, and it, like, we can be mad all we want from a fan's perspective and say they really messed up, they did this, they did that, but to be honest with you, we don't know what it looks like from their end on the business end. We don't know what Satya Nadella is seeing. We can blame him all we want for everything that we want because we're upset about it, but to be completely honest, I don't know what Satya is seeing. I don't know what he's thinking. You know, even if it was a dumb move, even if I hate him for it, at the end of the day, I can't act like I know because I don't work in the company. I don't see their numbers. I can't even begin to fathom how to run a company like Microsoft. So I'm not going to sit here and
because we're not that smart.
but a lot of us try to speak on it and act like we know, and I'm like, we don't.
Yeah, I mean, to a point. I mean, there's some people in this community where I take their word more than others because they've worked in corporations and stuff. And they've dealt with similar stuff, but Microsoft's on a whole nother scale. Like, you'd have to work at Google or another corporation like Microsoft
and high level
to kind of really do apples to apples, right? At that type of high level, like the companies I've worked for are fucking minuscule. They're nothing compared to Microsoft. But
now, with that being said, though, I agree with these layoffs? I'm trying to be objective, subjective, from a fan standpoint, and at the same time not looking at it as a fan. No, I don't like these layoffs. I don't. However, there is nothing I nor anyone else can do about it because these layoffs were expected. None of us should act surprised. And then again, at the same time, Microsoft is going to do what Microsoft is going to do and feel what is best for its future. And if they make a mistake, then they will backtrack on it and correct it because they've done that before. I mean, fans are voicing their outrage, but when it comes to something like this, like, these decisions were already made to a degree where even if we voice our outrage so freaking high, it's not going to change anything. Maybe it'll change the fact that the games that were supposed to be made will still get made, maybe. Yeah, but even then, that's a stretch. You know, because
that's a big maybe. Yeah. Because what's nice is they still got the IP. The double-edged sword of that is the chances that IP, you seeing that IP is very slim, right? Yeah. But at least it's there. It's more IP under the Microsoft umbrella that just sitting there that'll probably never see the light of day. And there's a bunch of that, especially with ABK now. There are so many games that we will never ever see. I don't know if we'll see another prototype. I wish, but it probably won't, right? Like, I would like to see old school games come back, old school IP come back, just like Sega. Sega's got a long, deep catalog. We're not going to see a quarter of those games. There's just too many. There's just way too many. But there's multiple sides to this whole layoff thing. Like, you can, I hate Twitter discourse because no one lands in the fucking middle. Like, you say, if you say like these layoffs suck, but you understand why they happen. The second you say I understand why they happen, you're a bad guy. You're like a dick. Like, everyone's like, oh,
what do you mean you understand? So you accept this and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I accept it. I accept it, bro. It sucks.
I understand it because this is not the first time this is like, we're acting like this is brand new shit. Like, I don't like.
I know. It's very, this one does feel a little different to me though, Dusty, a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know everyone's pining. Yeah, I know everyone's pining over Tango, and Tango is kind of my problem in this situation. Tango is a studio that we've been kind of asking for these beloved games that Tango made, that they allowed to make Hi-Fi Rush. That was Hi-Fi Rush was them taking a chance. Hi-Fi Rush was a game that was that separated Xbox from PlayStation. While we're sitting over here making fun of PlayStation and doing all these movie games, we're saying we get different types of games over here because we get Hi-Fi Rushes, because we have Microsoft who's willing to Xbox who's willing to take chances on games like that. And that's what made me proud to be like an Xbox fan. And I know a lot of people are worried about those types of things going away. And it almost feels like that could be a possibility. It's a stretch. Look, we just lost Hi-Fi Rush. And that's, you know, you got Evil Within, you got like Ghostwire Tokyo from this studio. None of those games sold well. The problem with like Hi-Fi, the one that Hi-Fi Rush really pisses me off though. Let me tell you why. Because you got Aaron Greenberg out here fucking saying success, 3 million units, great, unprecedented success for such a small game and AA, blah 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 blah, and fucking marketed it like there was no way we weren't seeing part 2 to that game. Yeah. Right. And then I just the thing, and I understand it, you know, whatever. I got lied to once again from a marketing guy. I just don't like kind of the double talk. Like I just didn't see Tango going. If I'm Microsoft, I don't care necessarily if my Japanese studio sells a ton of units, because they're my only Japanese studio. There is a point, in my opinion, and companies and corporations do this shit all the time, where you take what's called a loss leader. And I think, in my opinion, Tango Gameworks should have been a loss leader for Microsoft. I mean, look at how's Remedy still alive? You know what I'm saying? They make great fucking games that don't sell for shit. Remedy and Tango are very much alike, and their sales for their games are not too far off either. But Remedy's still out here surviving, right? So I just wish, I understand what happened with Arcane. I understand Redfall was a critical mess and it didn't sell well, and that's understood. I understand the mobile studio and the Doom game that they made. I get, like, checks all the boxes for me, right? Yeah. Even though I don't want to see anyone losing their jobs. I don't care. There is talented people in Arcane. You can say what you want about Redfall. They made Prey. They made some great games. They worked on Dishonored 1 and 2 as well with the other Arcane studio. But Tango hit differently for me, man. I was like, it's because they were allowing them to do weird shit. And that's what gave us variety in Game Pass, right? And I wanted more of that. I was like, take chances. Let's do crazy shit. And I praised them. Like crazy. And I separated Xbox and PlayStation because I said, look at what Xbox is doing over here. Team Green is doing crazy shit that PlayStation would never fucking do. They would never take a chance on a game like that, ever. It's got to be a guaranteed AAA graphical success. And if it's not, it dies. They kill it. Just like Sony does all the time. Google does this shit constantly with everything. And I was kind of hoping that Xbox would go in a different direction. But I don't think it reflects on everything under the Xbox umbrella. What's annoying me on Twitter is this one tragedy, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't equal Xbox is never doing anything weird again. Xbox is never taking chances again. Xbox is not going to be doing any of these AA games ever again.
It's weird.
I think I think they're going too far with it. I think they're just like overreacting. As Twitter always does.
and there's one specific person on Twitter. I was gonna call their name out, but I'm not gonna do it because I don't have the energy for it. But they pretty much busted a Tim Dog. I mean, that's not really a crazy name drop because we all know about that. But this person pretty much busted a Tim Dog and switched sides like in a heartbeat after this happened. And I'm like, why are you so reactionary? Like, why are you not a real fan? Because for me, it's like there's many things to hate Google for, but I still give them a chance. I don't know why, but I do. And when it comes to Xbox, it's like, I get that you're upset that these studios got closed and this and that, but in comparison to how much we've been given and what's going to come up, why are we acting
Dusty.
like this? Why are we like, I'm Team Blue now, acting like Team Blue ain't done the same thing, and acting like what does Team Blue even have? Like, it's so stupid for me. And if you want, I can understand being
studio. How's that London studio work? Oh, that's right, they shut that down. How's Pixel Open go? Oh, right, they shut that down one too. Come on, like
I can understand
it's happening industry wide.
Like I can understand. I can understand if a company wrongs you enough times, you don't want to support it. That's how I've often felt about Sony PlayStation, and that is fine. And I am not silent about my feelings towards Sony PlayStation at all whatsoever. But you also never saw me switch a side, and it was never about switching sides. I'll be very honest with everyone. Would I love to own a PlayStation for the reason of what PlayStation operates for, how they treat their exclusives? Yes. Why do I not? I do not agree with their business practices, and that has nothing to do with Xbox. That's a personal me thing because that's my money. That has nothing to do with being Team Green. Like, that shit's so stupid. Am I Team Green because I love what Xbox does for me? Yes. Do I want to be Team Blue? Yes. But do I not want to waste my money right now on these stupid ass cash grabbing business practices that come out left and right? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, it's not about blue versus green. It's about giving me what I feel like I deserve for the money I am giving you. And if you are cheating me out by overpricing shit and maybe making me have to pay extra for other shit on top of shit to use your shit, I'm not going to buy your shit. That's just what it is. Like, I should not have to own a PS5 or PSVR 2. Sorry. Like, I get that that's how you made it, and so if that's what you're going to do, then you should have given everyone and their mama a viable library to play from. And since you couldn't, you should have made PSVR 2 compatible on PC and PS5. I don't understand this. And then you should have partnered with, whoever on PC to open the floodgates for PS5 to be able to use certain PC things on the PS5 for your PSVR 2, so you have more freaking content for your PSVR 2. Like,
sure,
come on, so I can't support that at all. And that's why I don't own a PS5 or a PS4. This not, to be honest with you, I have my PC. I don't even have a PlayStation controller. There is a reason for this. And I'm not trying to wave some white flag and be like, or whatever kind of flag and stand on some, soapbox and blah blah. Like, I want to be into this brand more than I am right now, but they have not given me a reason to yet to want to do so for me as a gamer.
Right. For you as a gamer. For me,
so
I have a PlayStation 5. Yes. I haven't touched it in a while. I'm waiting for
and I don't hate on anyone that has one.
And I know, I don't give a shit. Like, I really look, like, we do everything we do is Xbox centric, but if you play on a PlayStation 5, I don't automatically hate you because that's fucking stupid. And I'm a grown up, and that's just fucking dumb. Do we poke the bear? Do we do console warrior shit? Yeah, we're doing it for fun. If you guys think I'm doing that and I'm serious about it, I'm not. I don't really give two fucks. We do it for poking fun and shits and giggles, right? But at the core of it, though, I do believe Xbox is the way better value. I don't even think it's fucking close. That's my truth. My truth is, I made a channel based off of Game Pass because I was like, this is the most unbelievable value of any subscription service that exists. And I stand by that to this day. And I've seen these guys that are saying, like, I'm gonna flip because maybe 500 people lost their jobs. Yeah, dude, you can hate the fact that people lost their jobs and not switch sides, because if you're switching sides, you're going to the other people who also fired 900 people not that long ago. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it's so. Oh my god,
it doesn't make any sense. If you're switching, then switch to PC because that may make sense. But if you're sitting here as an Xbox guy saying you're switching to PlayStation, I think you're a fucking idiot. What you're saying makes no sense. So you're gonna go over there. You're gonna miss out on all these games coming out on the June showcase that we're gonna talk about. And you're going to pay 10 times what I do because I'm a Game Pass subscriber. You're going to pay 10 times what I do to make a point. Like, if you're getting those games over on PlayStation, you're going to pay way more than I am, moron. Like, go for it, I guess. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I feel like a lot of it's fake outrage for
Clicks.
for the people who lost their job. I think it's a lot of clicks. But I honestly, truly believe some of these people are actually drinking this Kool-Aid and actually believe some of their own bullshit.
And that's
one of them.
And that's the part that always gets me is you can read a tweet and immediately question like, okay, is this trolling or is this real? But then there's some tweets you read it and it's like, who are you right now?
Everyone,
if you're
like those tweets, everyone get rid of Game Pass. That'll show them.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Or it will close more studios. You fucking idiot. That'll show them. See, if we all unify together and we get rid of Game Pass, that'll show them. No, it won't. That's not how corporations work, dum-dum.
And that's so dumb because Game Pass is like, and I'm glad I saw so many friends on X like explaining why they use Game Pass and why they love it and what they use it for. Like, Game Pass to me, when it comes to gaming, is your modern day digital blockbuster. You get to rent something,
100%.
try it out, and then if you want to keep it, you know, you download it and keep it on your shit and whoop do whatever, or you play it in the cloud and whoop do whatever. You know, that's how it goes down. So it's like, but Game Pass is not a rental service. It's just you can treat it that way if you want to, and that's the beauty of it. Or you can treat it as, I have a plethora of games at my disposal. Yeah, they rotate in and out, but goddamn, look at this collection. Look at what's coming. And usually what's going, nobody's even really playing that anyway, so it's fine. You know, like it's just like, I'm team green.
It's a buffet, man. It's a buffet of games.
I'm team
Everyone
green.
who's got Game Pass it plays more games than they ever have.
Yes.
Like, the stats are there. There's no doubt in my mind that every Game Pass subscriber plays way more games as a subscriber than they did before a subscriber. Guaranteed.
Or at the least, just trying more games, you know, like games you would never think about, but because it's right there.
Xbox Reforged said, there's so many games I would have never played without Game Pass. Another Crab's Treasure is like an RKL out of nowhere. Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Everybody says that. Everyone has the same sentiment when it comes to Game Pass, if they're a fan of it, that I never would have tried XYZ. Everybody has that story. Everybody. Yeah. Like, that's the beauty of it, man. Like, and that's where I feel like a lot of the Game Pass subscribers are real gamers, because now we're not just COD gamers. We're not just Madden gamers. We're not just, you know, we're not buying 2-3 games a year. We are playing 30, 40, 50, 60 games a year if you get that much time on your hands. You know what I mean? Versus what I used to do back in the day, and I buy 2-3 games and I play those all year long because I was poor. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I think the value there is undeniable, and I think there's just a lot of hate going on Twitter right now. Some of it's justified. Like, I got no problem with you questioning Xbox's tactics on getting rid of a studio like Tango Gameworks. I agree with that. I don't like it either, whether it was selling or not. I think personally, you take a loss leader on Tango Gameworks, you say goodbye to Arcane. Thank you, Arcane, for being around and making great games. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It is business. That doesn't mean you're a heartless prick, though, for saying stuff like that. Like, you can understand it sucks and have compassion for these people who lost their jobs, but still understand at the end of the day, it's numbers. It's numbers for a corporation. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. You know what I mean?
And here's the kicker. And I said this on either your podcast or my last episode. We are a very small niche of people that pay attention to this news. If you didn't pay attention to this news, you would be gaming on your Xbox, having a good old happy ass time, not knowing what the fuck. I don't care.
Nobody
enough
knows.
Time in, not knowing what the fuck is going on. So, like, thank you, YouTube. Not knowing what the fuck is going on. Yeah. So pretty much at that point, it's like, if you take yourself out of that equation and you become just a regular person who's gaming on their Xbox or whatsoever.
Right.
Like, this has nothing to do with you. Sorry. Maybe in the sense that you're not getting a game you were looking forward to. But even then,
like, you might not get that part too, right? Like, but if you want to be mad about that, that is genuine.
Exactly.
Like, if you want to be pissed off that Hi-Fi Rush 2 isn't coming out, then I'm with you. Then I'm holding hands with you. I got you, bro. Like, yeah, I'm pissed off too. That sucks. And you can be pissed off. That's logical. That's logical.
Exactly.
But some of these people are taking a fucking leap. We're going, I'm just leaving it. While Microsoft is the biggest publisher on planet Earth now.
Like, you know how many games?
You're about to leave a bunch of games behind. Okay.
You know how many games in the last 20 years we all were looking forward to that got canceled or just didn't pan out and it got like shelved, or it came out and ended up being a piece of garbage and everybody returned it. There's a specific game I'm referring to that just came out recently, and I was one of those people that gave it a chance, and it was a blind sack of shit. Anyway, I think it was called the day before. Anyway, so yeah, that stupid freaking mess. See, and that's another thing. We act like that game never happened. Like we see shit like this and we act like something like that never happened. Anyway, so the thing, like in the last 20 years, how many games have we all been looking forward to that just didn't come out and shit went sideways and this and that? And guess what? Xbox is still here. Guess what?
Still
PlayStation
here, baby.
is still here. Guess
They're
what?
not going
Nintendo
anywhere.
is still here. PC gaming is still here. Mobile gaming is still here. Games have been canceled. Studios have been closed across the board for years. And everybody is still here. And we've all have still been gaming. So am I going to just be so reactionary to quit Xbox because I don't like a certain business decision? Depends on the business decision. But something like this, which happens all the freaking time, it sucks. I hate it for the people that lost their jobs. I hope they find work soon.
Yeah,
because that sucks. And I feel for that. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the bullshit outrage. Why am I going to waste my energy and emotions on something that I cannot control, that I have realistically had nothing to do with, and if I wasn't paying attention to this kind of news, wouldn't affect me in any sort of way whatsoever? The only thing I care about is the fact that people lost their jobs. They need to find new work, and that we are not getting these, and I say potential games because even if these studios didn't get laid off or whatever happened, who knows if these games would have even made it, because things can always go wrong with any game. We've seen that too.
Absolutely.
So just because a game was promised doesn't mean it always works and pans out, you know? So can we remind ourselves of reality, please? Like, I get that this sucks. I get that, you know, like everybody's riding on a good high. The week's going great. Nobody's, you know, we all had a good weekend, and then all of a sudden some shit like this happens. And it's then, like, oh, that killed my fucking mood. Yeah, like it didn't kill my mood. It didn't kill my mood.
Saying, like, dude, like talking about the June showcase, like people were like, now that you know about this, like, are you still hyped for the June showcase? Yes, because I'm a fucking consumer and I like video games, and there's gonna fucking be a shit ton of them.
Thank you. This doesn't change a goddamn thing for the June showcase for me. Like it
does it. Did it hurt a little bit? Yeah, because I would have liked to know what Tango was working on next. Yes.
And who's to say that the people that were and who's to say that the people that were kept are not still working on these games with another division or another studio, but they are a separate team to realize Tango's dream of Hi-Fi Rush 2 or whatever the hell else they had in the works. You know, none of us know because we are not in that position to know. We know when they tell us. And even then,
you see what this shit happens too? Like the pile on the pig. Like I fucking swear Jeff Grubb does this every time. Every time there's bad Xbox news, all the insiders come out and like double down on it. Jeff Grubb, like, what was he just tweeting about? Was it Perfect Dark? Saying like Perfect Dark is now in a mess. I was like, dude, your timing is impeccable. Like, and I like guys like Grubb usually, but man, I seen him do it one too many damn times. As soon as Xbox gets really bad news, there's Grubb right away within 24 hours giving us more bad news, and it's just like pile on the pig. Like, oh, we're getting clicks now. Now we can get more people to watch us if we say more negative shit about Xbox. Man, I tell you, Xbox is the whooping chow. Like every time they just are, because we might talk about it. We might talk about when PlayStation studios and layoffs happen, all that stuff, but it is never to the extreme. When Xbox does it, it's a fucking volcano that erupts, dude.
It's a
when
fucking
Sony does
shit
it,
show.
It's
like,
little,
wow.
It's a little anthill. Like, and just because we talk about both doesn't mean that we talk about it to extreme that we do, like we do when Xbox does it versus when PlayStation does it. I'm sorry, I don't give a shit. There's bias. It is very night and day to me. It is very different, the reactions that happen. People want fucking Phil's job. People want Aaron fired.
It's so dumb.
The going after Phil thing. Fuck you guys. Listen, anyone saying get rid of Phil, I'm saying right to your face right now. Sorry, I'm swearing a lot. Go fuck yourself. There wouldn't be an Xbox without Phil, you fucking idiot. Like,
man, we wouldn't have.
We forget how quickly we forget that Satya was ready to shut this motherfucker down, and Phil's the only reason about 15, never mind 500, about 15,000 people still have a job. You fucking mook.
Preach.
Like, what is wrong with you people?
Preach.
Like, use your heads. Use your fucking heads, guys. Like, I can't stand people going after Phil, and it's some people I respect too. And I'm just like, shut up, Retri. Don't. I want to start like a guy.
I did the same thing today.
You guys are fucking stupid. I'm sorry.
I did the same
Use
thing
your
today.
Heads.
There was 3 people specifically where I was like, I followed you for a reason, and you're giving me every reason to unfollow.
I'm ready to mute. I'm ready to mute some people right now because
it's just like because it's so weird.
It's tiring, bro.
It's so weird.
Tiring.
And that's that just goes to
Phil. What a fucking dumb statement.
It's the stupidest shit. Like, Phil has given us like a rebirth of Xbox,
I know,
and revitalized the entire shit out of it. Has created a team under him that could easily take over the company when he steps down. God forbid, I don't want him to step down anytime soon. I don't think he is.
Yeah, but he's paving the way for Sarah to take over. Like, I see people out here going, man, I feel bad for Sarah that she's gonna be taking over the shit show. Oh, okay.
It's so dumb.
So
dumb. Like the only shit show is if you're looking at it from a fan standpoint. But when you're not looking at it from a fan standpoint, this is just big business, and Microsoft is unfortunately trimming the fat that they feel needs to be trimmed. And I say Microsoft because this feels more like a Microsoft decision than an Xbox decision.
I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment, man. This feels like an Amy Hood decision. I know everyone's like Amy, she's the numbers person, let's be honest. And she's above Phil. So I feel like this is a Microsoft decision. Whether you like that decision or not, you don't have to agree with it, but this feels like a numbers thing to me, which makes it understandable. I mean, when you do look at it, it's Tango didn't sell a lot. It just didn't sell a lot of units. A lot of very successful, critically acclaimed games don't sell a lot. I mean, look at Alan Wake 2, the perfect example. You know what I mean? Like, it happens. It happens all the time. It sucks, but there's just so much to play these days that if sometimes you got to stand out so far away from the pack to even cross 3 million sales. It just happens, man.
I wish I could highlight comments through.
I know. I thought you loved him. Don't mute me. I promise I will troll you a little less. I would never. Listen, FarQ. We have a relationship going on where we constantly fuck with each other. So you're good, brother. And I'm sorry to go off the handle, but man,
no.
This shit's been building up for days. And I haven't said anything, dude. I put out one tweet about this situation, and it's not because I was ducking it, because I'm making a video about it. It's going to be released tomorrow. It's because I didn't want to be reactionary about it and say stupid shit I was going to regret later. But I'm seeing a ton of y'all go off on Twitter and saying all kinds of dumb shit, and I'm going, man, I could have been like them, and I'm glad I didn't react the way that some of these people did. Because like I said, I wish Tango was still with us.
And a lot of the times, like for me, I don't know if people pay attention to how I shared tweets out, like when I repost tweets and stuff, but I stay very quiet on certain topics not because I'm afraid of saying something, but because I'm watching to see who's saying what, and I'm watching to see who's going off the handle and what their opinion is. And there's so many times where I'm so close to wanting to reply to a person and just let them know how dumb what they're saying is. and I don't because it's not worth.
That's because you're adulting. That's your adult. That's you adulting, Dusty. And sometimes I can't help myself. I let loose on the podcast. All fucking cuffs are off. When I go on my podcast, my Twitter personality is very different than my podcast personality. Some people would not think it was the same person, because I'm trying to keep Game Pass Daily professional. I'm trying to make it like a news outlet. I'm not trying to sit there and argue with fucking people through Game Pass Daily on Twitter, because I'm going to get a bunch of people going, I don't want to follow this guy. He's just a toxic fanboy talking blah, blah, blah. That's what my podcast is for. You know what I mean? And that's where I'll go buck wild and say my piece. Because because it doesn't serve my audience to do that shit on Game Pass Daily, at least on the Twitter side. But yeah, man, it's Twitter's the wild, wild west, but it's also 1%ers, right? It's not, like you said kind of earlier, like no one gives a shit. Like your average Joe isn't talking about this. Nobody even knows this even fucking happened. Which is true. That's the reality of the situation. Like, we are the hardcore. Everyone who listens to these podcasts, they're the hardcore. They know everything that's happening in the gaming news cycle where no one else fucking knows. Nobody gives a shit. But it's interesting to us. I love this stuff, so I'll talk about it all day long. But I enjoy the shit talking too. It's all harmless fun. Yeah, I mean, it is harmless. You know what I mean? And I don't, when guys like King David talk about holding the line, I don't think a lot of you understand what the fuck that actually means. There's multiple meanings to hold the line.
Keep going for a couple of minutes.
Go ahead.
Keep going for a couple of minutes. I need to check something real quick.
Yeah, you're good. When he says shit like hold the line, I feel like there's multiple meanings behind that. He talking about, obviously, like, don't be like a fair weather fan like we were talking about earlier. Stick with your team through the thick and thin. There's ups and downs, there's ebbs and flows, but there's also the human side of this too, where you don't start, if you disagree with someone on Twitter that's your best fucking friend, you don't stop being friends with that person because of a different agreement about video games. That would be, to me, another occurrence of holding the line. So a lot of you weak resolve motherfuckers out there will literally just get rid of your own friends based off of some stupid shit they said on Twitter. That's not me. So I even all the shit that Tim Dog said, I'm still kind of friends with Tim Dog in the background. Did I mute Tim Dog? Yeah, I couldn't stand on this shit he was saying anymore. But there's a line, guys. Like, you got, like, if you're friends with somebody and they disagree with you that you like Mortal Kombat and they say fucking Street Fighter's better, and you stop being friends with them over that, you're a fucking idiot. If you didn't know that, here you go. I'm telling you. But we gotta stop that shit, man. We gotta be able to have discourse on the internet. We gotta be able to talk to people. That's why I like podcasts. And hate spaces, because it's just a bunch of people yelling out over each other, calling each other the N-word. Went into even my buddy's space the other day, and I bounced out within like fucking 30 seconds because it was just fucking same old bullshit that spaces usually is. But I'm just, sometimes we just got to sit back and just absorb the information first before we start making these reactionary comments and shit. I like to poke the bear. I like to fuck with Sony fans sometimes too, but it's more because they've been doing it to us forever, so it's a little bit of tit for tat. But I don't really mean that shit. Like, there are some Sony guys I legitimately hate, because I'm like, man, if I were in the room with this guy, I'd probably punch him in the face. He's just got a punchable face. Oh my God. And just the way they deliver their shit. There are some guys, like, for legit, but I don't hate every Sony podcaster. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. That's stupid. Like, that's juvenile bullshit.
To the trophy room.
There you go. That's what I say. Like, I try to feed people to the right, to the right areas, and like Bitcast and shit like that. But But Retry, how do you get to speak on your podcast? Panda won't be. Panda won't be quiet, is what we're just saying. Listen, that's why I picked Panda, man. She's I love her, man. She's fucking smart. On this show. Like, yeah, definitely get Panda on this show, man. She's good people. I love her, man. That's why I chose her. But
so let's see what the rest of the chat is saying.
Let's. Seems like something the community didn't learn from last time. I said the jump the gun, Trey Bone. Absolutely,
yes,
brother.
Yeah,
dude, this reactionary. That's what Twitter is, bro. It's like,
so reactionary. It's
so reactionary.
And people forget how to just look at something, think for 2 seconds, and then be like, okay, let me give an opinion. Those 2 seconds are taken up by, oh hell no, like, you know.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like I see it, and then I'm like, okay, let me see the replies, how people feel about it, and this and that, and then let me give my 2 cents, you know, from what's going on, and you know how I feel about it. But half the time, I don't want to share how I feel about anything. Just because I mainly just enjoy seeing the reactions. It's just like, what the hell is going on?
The thing, a lot of people, what people don't understand too, if you get a little bit of following on Twitter, you're gonna get harassed. Like I get harassed all the time, bro. Just because I'm an Xbox guy, I get shit all the time. I have to like delete a bunch of comments, like some nasty shit. I've gotten 2 death threats. Like this shit's real, bro. Like and I can't imagine what guys like Paris, Colt Eastwood. I don't think a lot of you would be able to handle the amount of bullshit that these guys get, and they get up every day, they still get on camera, and they do their thing. Y'all think it's just for money, dude. I'm telling you, these guys have passion for this shit too. So think twice when you just attack people over of a difference of opinion, or at least like how you say it. Like don't go right for the jugular and attack them. You know what I mean? Like Treybone was making a good point too. He says, I got 100 on the next Doom and Gloom will be something about Hellblade 2. It's already started, Treybone. I'm already seeing it. It's
already happening.
It's already happening.
So what is this? The rumor is that Hellblade 2 might come to PlayStation.
Well, no, not even that. They're just well, at least maybe. Yes, there's that for sure. But no, the angle I was talking about where people were saying if a guy like Matt Booty, and he was quoted as saying that they want games that are small in basically like Hi-Fi Rush right after they got rid of Tango. He's talking about basically how he wants games like Hi-Fi Rush. Everyone's saying, well, isn't that freaking Hellblade 2? Like, so shouldn't these other studios, these like Ninja Theory, be shitting in their pants because you might get rid of them too? That's your $50 8-hour game that is it's different. Hellblade is a very different game. It's a niche game. Hellblade 2 is probably not going to sell a lot of copies. Sorry if that bothers you. It's one of those types of games that I don't think is going to it'll be appreciated. It'll probably get a fucking high score just like a Remedy game, but guess what? I don't think that thing's probably selling over 5 million units. Like, you know what I mean? Which is fine. I don't care. I don't need it. I'm a Game Pass subscriber. That's how I support them. But there's this whole thing going on now that a lot of people are thinking that a lot of these are afraid that a lot of these studios, these smaller studios, are going to disappear because this is this new mentality that because of what just happened, that Microsoft's is going to become the Call of Duty machine, the AAA only machine. Ignore innovation, ignore AA. And man, I feel like that's maybe too early to be saying that much shit that soon. I feel again like that's Twitter jumping the gun and being a little with the hysteria out there. And I'm just going, damn, now we're going out to Hellblade 2. Okie dokie. Like
it's
shit,
like what's
man,
next after Hellblade 2? You know, what's next after that? Like what else are we gonna be all
it'll
of the
be
norms
something
about?
Dusty. It will be something. Like, you know, there will always be something will happen that where the gaming community won't like it, and then we'll bitch about something else. When people said that Xbox was going bringing all these games to PlayStation, and that all the studios would be putting their games everywhere, including Sony. I had a guy who reached out to me. He's making his own channel now and says, well, now he's like, it'd be nice to see that the console wars are done. And I fucking laughed. And he's like, what are you laughing about? I said, when the console wars are done, they'll just come up with a different war. It'll be the ecosystem wars. These wars will never finish because everyone likes to compare A to B, you know, Pepsi to Coke, whatever to whatever, Apple to Google. I said, it'll just become something else. It'll just form itself in a different way. I'd like to see the shit end too, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? It'll just form into something else. But what's up, Talos? What's going on, brother?
What up, Talos? Good to see you, fam. Always a pleasure having you here. Okay. What was I gonna say? Welcome everybody. Thank you for being here for the show. Happy to see everyone. What was I gonna say? Well, let's transition into our second topic for the evening, for the gaming section of tonight's show. Helldivers 2 returns. Dun, 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 dun.
It's back, baby.
It's back.
They did the moonwalk.
Yeah, and that was a hard ass moonwalk. I have never seen PlayStation like that, and I'm glad, because
it's good. It's a good sign in my
winds
opinion.
Of change, like, you know. But the PC community don't play. So for those of you that don't know, the whole situation with Helldivers 2, with the requiring a PSN login and account syncing with Steam situation, and cutting off like 120 countries or whatever it was, is now been resolved. Sony has walked back their decision of the account leaking and the need for a PSN login, and now everyone on PC can go back and continue enjoying Helldivers 2 the way that they were supposed to.
That's gotta be driving Sony nuts, bro. They wanted that data so bad.
Well, it drove them so nuts that, along with this news, turns out that the community manager for this whole debacle that encouraged people to speak up, to request refunds, to voice their opinions on the matter because it was the right thing to do, was let go by Sony PlayStation. Wow.
Oh, the Sony community. I thought. See, why did I felt like I heard that one of the guys from Arrowhead was let go too. Was that the community guy there too?
I think that's
or was
who
he the
it was.
Sony guy?
I think that's who it was.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why I'm saying Sony PlayStation and not Arrowhead is because I don't think this was an Arrowhead decision.
I gotta be honest with you, he deserved it. If it's the guy I'm thinking of, he's the guy who basically called everyone stupid, and was kind of, he said some dumb shit in the beginning, and he very much moonwalked afterward. If it's the guy, is it Spitz or something like that?
So it is the same guy then.
Yeah, if it's, I think his name is like SPITZ or something like that.
Yeah, it's Spitz. Or Splits.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this idiot. So he's an idiot. Let me start off. The first thing he goes off and saying, and I said this on a podcast not too long ago, was he basically calls out everyone and says, "Why is it so hard to link the accounts? You've done it 13 times before." This is where I was saying, as a community manager, you don't say this shit. Shut the fuck up and just don't do that.
That was bad.
Because what you just did was you put it all on the players. Never, even if you think it's true, even if you're like, you stupid fucks, you've done this for Ubisoft, you've done this for WB, you've done this for Microsoft. What is the big deal? Because that's kind of what he was saying. He's like, what's the big deal if you've done this? He's like, you've done this 13 times before, is being like a snarky little shit. And then he started to moonwalk because he got attacked for saying that shit. And PC guys were like, no, you don't. So community managers like that, when they get fired, I don't feel bad for them at all, because you're supposed to be smarter than that. You're supposed to be politically correct and not attack your own player base essentially and call them dumb for you know, and that's kind of what he did. So I kind of don't feel too bad for that guy, whether it was a Sony decision or an Arrowhead decision.
So he could have been fired for creating
he created some issues
backlash
right off the rip,
in the beginning,
dude.
And then he tried to correct it by boxing the whole situation.
He started to say, I didn't. Well, then he after he says all this shit, he goes, I didn't understand that all these countries couldn't make a PSN. I didn't understand this. I didn't understand that. So then it just made you look ignorant after that.
Yeah, because, I mean,
it's like, you should know these things.
Yes. I mean, for someone like me, I didn't know, but if you're working with companies like that,
but it's not your job.
I feel like, yeah, exactly. I feel like that's kind of information like that should have been known. Like, if you're going to do this, who's going to be affected? Because you as a company and whoever you're working for, if you're a developer or whatever, I feel like this should be known information of where PSN works and where it doesn't, I guess. But information like that can easily slip through the cracks and not get past everyone it needs to. So, if in that case,
No, hey, you can play devil's advocate all you want, brother.
I know. I mean, he's fired regardless, but like, I can kind of understand like the oopsie, but at the same time, I still can't fully give it to him because it's like, well, but in the beginning, you shouldn't have said what you said regardless because that was wrong, He
might have been fired just based off of that. That's what I actually think happened.
Maybe not. Maybe not invoking the boycotting, but rather causing.
I think it was before that. He said too many dumb things on the internet that I think, as a community manager, is a big no-no. I think that's probably he was already in trouble before any of the other stuff was going. I mean, it could be all of it, right? It could be all of it together. Or like, you know what?
Yeah.
You caused us a bunch of money. When you take money out of their pockets, you're so you can get some trouble for that.
So back to the news about Helldivers 2, because Poison said something interesting. He doesn't know if it's been opened back up to the previous closed off countries. Like the PSN issue has been taken care of, but has the game been reopened? Well, I mean, if the PSN,
because I kind of
no, if the PSN issue
should be
has
fine,
been
right?
Yeah, if the PSN issue has been taken care of, that would have been the only thing that turned off the game for everyone, right?
Right. Yes.
The game wasn't being delisted. You just wouldn't have been able to log in when you loaded the game up. So,
well, I think it was being delisted, but then they went back on it.
Delisted from future sales. But what I mean is the game wasn't turned off like a light switch for those countries per se. It was just, it would have been if that PSN login was implemented, and because it's not now, the game should still be accessible for all those people. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, they did delist it from future sales, but yeah.
After Sony like basically went back on it, I kind of stopped paying attention. I was like, okay, good. Community spoke out. Good for the PC community. They gave him hell and they fixed it. I am curious to see like the long-term effects of this for Helldivers, and I'm not against Helldivers. I even know it's a Sony game. I played it. I think it's a decent game. I think it's overhyped a little bit, but I don't see anything wrong with the game. But I'm curious to see like what the effects are going to be like long term in the next couple of weeks, if they're gonna be able to keep their player base. I heard their numbers were still there, so I guess we'll see what happens with that shit. And if people just said fuck it and moved on, I don't know. Let's see.
Let us know whether you're in the chat or you're seeing the show later on. Let us know in the comments. Are you guys playing Helldivers 2? And because of this whole debacle, are you now returning to the game if you had stopped playing it? Or did you continue playing because you were like, yeah, this sucks, but you know what? I gotta get my shit,
Mm-hmm.
So, like, just let us know what the situation has been for you as far as Helldivers 2 is concerned. Now, let's get to the last section of the show tonight. We were going to do a TV and film section, but I had to take that out because it was going to be around X-Men 97, and I still have yet to watch episode 9.
I haven't either. I actually have it downloaded.
Good. So,
but I could be back if you want to let me know, and I'll watch a bunch of them, and I'll fucking, and we can talk about it.
Well, I am
very excited to watch that.
So I was going to say that next week's episode, because of the finale episode is next week, might be primarily TV and film based, and we're just going to talk about X-Men 97 and season 6 whatever season it is of the X-Men animated series altogether, and discuss this recent season and what has transpired. And so I'll try to get I'll try to get a bigger panel if I can of people that have watched the show, and hopefully we can get a great discussion going on that. So for next week, you'll have to make sure you watch episode 9 and 10, just like myself. But yeah, so let's get to the last section of the evening, which won't be too long. It is the wrestling section, and it is just some quick highlights from Monday Night Raw and AEW Dynamite, which I just finished watching prior to this show. The first thing I do want to say is that right now it is a great time for wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan, it is just you have a plethora of companies.
I need to get back into it, man.
I'm
getting FOMO.
Can you please?
I haven't watched it in forever, and everyone's like on Twitter. The one good thing Twitter's doing for me is making me think I should get back into this shit.
Yes, please do, because honestly, I would say like right now is a great time to be a wrestling fan. You have so many companies to choose from. You have a plethora of wrestlers to get behind and follow their individual stories and storylines and whatnot, whether it's real or kayfabe. And it's just been a blast, like watching Monday Night Raw and NXT and SmackDown, and then watching AEW Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. It just, along with the independent companies that are out there, along with New Japan Pro, it's just so much to choose from. Whatever style of wrestling you're a fan of, whether it's like the more entertainment style or it's the more pro wrestling centric style or it's the indie wrestling style, it's all there for you. So a few highlights from Monday Night Raw, if I can remember off the top of my head. Good grief, what happened? We have the King of the Ring tournament, King and Queen of the Ring tournament, which has been taking place. And to be honest with you, this past Monday, my main highlight for the show was it was a stacked show. There was supposed to be, I believe, 8 matches booked for the show, which for a Monday Night Raw, even though it's 3 hours, having 8 matches booked is unheard of. That's like a 6-hour pay-per-view. But there were supposed to be 8 matches booked. I think there ended up being 6 or 7, which is still freaking amazing. It was just hands down from top to bottom. It didn't feel like a 3-hour show. And hey, Zeus, sorry, that's the dog in the background. But it didn't feel like he's a sweetie. But it didn't feel like a 3-hour show. It just went. And right now I have to say another highlight would be Jey Uso. And if you don't know, Retri, Jey Uso is one of the Usos. The if you remember a tag team from I don't want to say, I'll say back in the day for you, but
back in the day,
but storyline.
Like the way you phrase that.
Well, no, because
back in the day for me is like Ultimate Warrior, Undertaker.
Well, back in the day meaning like 10 years ago. So like not very back in the day, but
that like back 10, in the day. Yeah.
But the Usos were a tag team. They're twins. They're Rikishi's sons, and they are a tag team together. And through storyline recently, they are now separated, and Jey Uso is off doing his own thing. And the one thing I will say is that he is so over right now. And one of my friends had mentioned to me, I think it was Sour Blow who mentioned it to me, that Jey Uso needs to win a title soon. He's so over with the crowd. His theme music.
Oh, this is the guy that's been around forever that still never got a title, right? I think I saw this on Twitter.
Well, if somebody worded it that way, that would be worded incorrectly.
Was that incorrect? Okay.
The way I would word it is, he is now a single star who has been in a tag team, a very well decorated tag team for many years.
Okay. All right.
And now he's on a singles run, and he has yet to obtain a singles title
under the singles. Okay,
yes,
that makes more sense.
That is more how I would explain that, because the other way makes it seem like he hasn't done anything for years, and it's
like he hasn't done anything. Yeah,
like the Usos are like
the way it was worded. I thought it was like a black guy thing, and it was like, oh, of course, a black guy never got to win, and I was like,
no,
one of those things.
No, because so like I said, the Usos are the sons of Rikishi, but they're also like cousins with The Rock and Roman Reigns and whatnot. So like they're a very well decorated tag team and family and all of that good stuff. So with that being said, now it's just at this point where Jey Uso, they had this whole idea of having him go on a singles run and see how that could work out, and he's just so over as a face. He's so over. Like it makes no sense. So now the beauty about having Triple H running the show is Triple H is a fan of long-term storytelling,
like storylines.
Yes, and long-term booking,
like old school wrestling.
Yes,
dude, I think I have to get back into it just because Triple H is running the show now.
Yeah,
like that makes me smile that he's doing these long storylines, because that's the shit I used to love.
And so and I think that's a big reason why I'm always encouraging people to get back into wrestling is because of who's running the show now, of who's in charge. The creative team has been revamped. And that's always been the biggest issue for a lot of people that got out of wrestling. It was just creatively just, what is this product now? You know, the Attitude Era is gone. The era that came after that was like, you know, it kind of didn't really go anywhere. And then I mean, not saying it didn't go anywhere, but what I mean is it just did not have the same impact for a lot of us old school wrestlers, right? Or wrestling fans, I should say. So with that being said, how wrestling is going now, you would appreciate it. You would love it, because now it feels like it means something again. You know, even with the entertainment that happened back in the day and the things that WWE used to do, which was a lot of crazy shit, at least the product meant something for the time, you know. And now and WWE, mainly because of one man, lost its way during the eras that it progressed through, because it wasn't meaning anything anymore. Now wrestling means something again. Now when you invest your time into these different athletes and superstars or wrestlers, whatever you want to call them, you feel like you're getting your investment's worth. So those are just a few highlights from Monday Night Raw. There's a lot of other things that happened throughout the show, but I mainly wanted to cover the King and Queen of the Ring tournament and Jey Uso being over. The King and Queen of the Ring tournament is what set the bar for this show, because you had the women's matches, you had the men's matches, and then you had, for the main event, you have Sheamus versus Gunther, and that was already a, like, in my opinion, 5-star match from when they faced each other before for the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther, if you didn't know, got the win for this match, so he will be advancing in the tournament. But man, it was just like watching two just slabs of meat just going at each other. But it was just an amazing match. It was a great main event, a great way to finish the show, and I was just like what we get now, this is what should have been getting for the last 10 to 15 years, if not longer. And it feels so good to turn off like the TV or switch the channel after Raw is over and be like, damn, that was a good show. Or what are people saying online about it? You know, it gets the people going, you know, but it really does. It gets the people talking, and that's what you want from content that you're invested in like this. You want to be able to look online afterwards and see what people are saying about it. And you don't want to see like, oh, this show is shit, what are we doing? Why are we doing these matches again? And da-da-da. Instead, you're seeing like, oh man, like you're seeing people talk about the storyline and speculate what could happen next, rather than complaining about the content. And that's, as a wrestling fan, is what I want to see the most. Switching over to AEW Dynamite, which for Retri, AEW is All Elite Wrestling. They have taken the place that WCW. They have taken shit.
That's all I know though.
They have taken the place. They have taken the place that WCW once held over on TNT and TBS. They are headed by a man named Tony Khan, who is one of the he's the son of the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, so they are a very well-funded family. And he, back in the day, just to give you a brief rundown, he started the company with Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Chris Jericho was involved, and a few other people, and they wanted to create a wrestling promotion that brought back what pro wrestling was all about. And this was pre-Vince McMahon being excommunicated from the company for obvious reasons. So when this company was brought into fruition, if you will, it was when Vince was just producing horrible show after horrible show after horrible show, and fans were just like needing something new that brought us back to what pro wrestling and entertainment is really all about. So that's AEW in a brief rundown. Now, AEW Dynamite, pretty good show, not gonna lie. I enjoyed it a lot. There was a beatdown on the AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland. If you don't know Retri, Swerve Strickland is a great talent. I encourage you, if you get into AEW, to keep your eye on him. very, very great talent. He used to wrestle previously in WWE under a different name. He was in NXT. He's just an amazing athlete.
Remember them?
But he's gotten so much better over the years. He's improved his own character now that he's been within AEW, and it's just amazing to see him as world heavyweight champion. One of the main highlights I did want to talk about happened at the end of the show. We will be having a 4v4 tag team match or no disqualification style match. I forget the name that they gave it for the match, but it will be the team of the new Elite, which is the team of Okada, the Young Bucks, and Jack Perry, which Retri, if you did not know, Jack Perry is the son of Luke Perry, the late and great Luke Perry.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So he's been wrestling for a long time. And he's actually a really good talent too. I'm a fan of his. And they will be taking on the team of FTR, and it was announced tonight that they will also be partnering with Eddie Kingston as well as Bryan Danielson, the Dragon himself, which before and previously in WWE was Daniel Bryan. So this is going to be an amazing match, and I have to admit that when they announced Bryan Danielson as the fourth member of this team, I actually lost my shit. Not gonna lie to you. To see FTR, Bryan Danielson, and Eddie Kingston on the same team is just phenomenal. Taking on the Young Bucks, who are just absolutely top tier performers. You have Okada, who, you know, was just an absolute top guy in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now he's in AEW, you know, and you have Jack Perry, who's had all of this, you know, media and everything going on around him with the whole situation with CM Punk, but he's been able to come out the opposite end of it, you know, pretty much on top of it. If you think about it, it's actually done wonders for him a little bit. I think this is going to be a fantastic match. We do have the upcoming match between Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné, who was previously Sasha Banks in the WWE. That's going to be a great match. This is actually their second match. Their first match, Mercedes Moné dropped her, I forget which title she was holding, but it was in New Japan. She dropped the title to Willow Nightingale. In real world sense, it's because Mercedes Moné suffered an injury during the match. In kayfabe, Willow Nightingale beat her. So now this is round 2. I feel like Willow Nightingale might drop the title to Mercedes Moné, but Willow Nightingale is the top babyface in AEW right now, if not just the women's division. So I don't know if they're ready to take the title off of her just yet. But that is a match that I am definitely looking forward to. I'm a huge Sasha Banks fan. Mercedes Moné, I've loved her work for many years, and I'm happy to see that, you know, she will be cleared soon to wrestle, and she will have a big match. What was one of the other highlights that I wanted? An interesting thing happened in the beginning of the show. Orange Cassidy had a match versus Trent Beretta, and you know, this has been a long-standing feud for a while now because Trent Beretta turned his back on the Best Friends, and at the end of the match, it was about to get really ugly between Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy until Don Callis came to Orange Cassidy's aid, which I thought was very strange. So if you don't know, Don Callis has the Callis family. He's a complete heel. He's a complete piece of shit. You know, everybody loves to boo him. But for him to come to Orange Cassidy's aid is really weird. So does this mean, is he going to try to recruit Orange Cassidy into the Don Callis family? You know, is this going to create, you know, Is this like a replacement for Will Ospreay? Because there's been growing tension between Callis and Will Ospreay in recent weeks. You know, with Will Ospreay not really agreeing with the tactics that the Don Callis family has, you know, especially during his matches and after his matches and whatnot. So we shall see. But that was just some highlights tonight for a little bit of wrestling. Next week's show, like I said, is going to be a little bit more TV and film centric, along with wrestling. So if there's big gaming news, we will cover that, and it might be a really long episode next week. We might have to do 3 hours, but If not, it'll just be TV and film and then wrestling after, and I will give a more extensive breakdown on Monday Night Raw as well as AEW Dynamite. But I do have to head out, unfortunately, soon, so that is why I'm not going into great detail. Plus, I knew the discussion about the layoffs for Microsoft, as well as, talking about Helldivers 2 for a little bit. I knew that was going to take some time as well. And yeah, but make sure you guys check out Friday Night SmackDown. It should be a really great episode. The continuation of the King and Queen of the Ring should be taking place. As well as on Saturday, you have AEW Collision, which is actually cool. I didn't know I wanted a Saturday wrestling show until I got a Saturday wrestling show, and now I'm happy that I have one. So make sure you check out AEW Collision. I believe the next pay-per-view coming up, I'll get into that later. Who cares? But check out those shows. If you guys want any recommendations on where to watch or how to watch some new modern day wrestling, go ahead and message me on the good old X. Retri, please.
I have a recommendation actually.
Ooh.
When it comes to wrestling, at least the movie, Iron Claw, the Iron Claw.
Yes,
Holy
please watch that.
Damn, the Von Erich brothers story. It was so good. I did some research on it. So if you watch the movie, it's some fucked up shit. Turns out real life was actually worse than the movie. You think the movie's like this? There's no way this family could be cursed this hard. The real life story is actually worse than the movie.
It's so sad.
Fantastic movie,
but
dude.
It's definitely worth a
so
watch.
good.
When I saw it, I couldn't help but cry during the movie.
No, dude, no. If you don't cry during this movie, you're a heartless son of a bitch. This movie it's fantastic. It's just so good.
Yes, please watch the Iron Claw. Please watch the Iron Claw. It is a great movie. I highly recommend it.
Crazy good cast too, man. Like Zac Efron, Jeremy.
Oh,
Allen
he does
White,
a great job in this movie.
Jesus,
oh my God,
dude.
Zac. The
This
whole
guy's
cast
got
was great.
jacked.
Yeah, all of them.
The casting is fantastic. The father too. Like you could totally see him being like the dickhead like father figure. Like it was just good. Such a good movie, man.
Agreed.
Definitely check that one out.
So, Retri, please let the good folks know where they can find you on the airwaves.
Yeah, you guys can find me Game Pass _daily. I'm pretty sure all of you follow me, so thank you so much. Game Pass Daily on YouTube, where we have our Aim Down Sights podcast is there. And of course, you can see me and Web Dave on Sundays at the Gamers Council as well. So got a lot of stuff going on, man. But just happy to talk about this stuff. Sorry if I was going off the handle. This stuff has been building up, man, tonight. And I was just like, whew. Probably good I get a lot of this off my chest, because some of these guys, these fair weather fans, are just been driving me nuts, and the takes have just been terrible in my opinion. But it is what it is. It's Twitter. It's not the real world. But I see you guys are still hanging out with us. I know you guys are Xbox hardcore, as you should be, because, dude, the future for an Xbox gamer is looking great. Unless the rumor that Call of Duty is not going to Game Pass isn't happening, and then I'll have some things to say about that.
As
again,
much as that would suck, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either. But I
would at least put standard edition.
It's a slippery slope. Once you start, I made my channel because of first party going into Game Pass. I fucking tell you right now, I probably won't be called Game Pass Daily if that happens. I'll say it right now. I promise you, I won't. If
my
they start
recommendation
doing
is
that,
this.
It's a slippery slope. I don't like it.
My recommendation is this.
I don't know if it's gonna happen.
What they should do is the same thing that they did with Forza, and what was the other game they did it with? I'll just use Forza.
Starfield. Are you talking about the
Starfield,
the early access stuff?
Drop the standard edition in Game Pass. Charge extra for the extra content that people love to buy.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's perfectly fine.
Simple.
I wouldn't be mad about that at all.
Yeah.
Yep, I'd be fine with that. We heard these rumors a while ago too, and they were kind of squashed, and they're surfacing right back up again from The Verge, and I'm like, fuck this better. I'll tell you right now, dude. I'm gonna give fucking Microsoft the smoke if that happens. I will go off. Yeah. So hopefully that is just more bullshit rumors, but we'll see. Time will tell. We'll find out this year.
Hell yeah, we will
know for sure.
Shit.
Yeah.
Everybody can find me on X, YouTube, at the Dusty Uno. You can find me on my personal Instagram at mynameisneo__. I just redid my Twitter accounts. So my main Twitter account is the Dusty Uno once again, and then the account I was using before as that is back to being the G-Wave TV account. I realized that if I'm going to be using Twitter more, I really have to like make the proper changes. So follow me at the Dusty Uno, follow G-Wave TV, I believe it is _, and follow me on my personal Instagram at mynameisneo__. And let's keep the discussion going. You guys can shoot me DMs if you ever have a question, whether it's wrestling, gaming, TV, and film. I love talking Star Wars. I love talking Marvel. I love talking DC. I'm a huge nerd like that. If you guys, are into anime and have any recommendations, shoot them my way. I could always use a new show to watch. And yeah, I will see you guys.
I just started a new one too. I'll talk to you after. Sorry.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was called though. I totally brain farted, but I'm I just started watching a new one on Crunchyroll and it was so good. Solo. It was like something solo. Fuck, can't remember the name of it, but it's so good. I'll send it to you.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I get like that too once it hits my brain. But yeah,
totally gone.
So we will see you guys next week to discuss X-Men 97 and some more wrestling. Thank you so much for everyone who came through in the chat. Much love to you all. I appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to hit the memberships, hit that subscribe, give a like, and we will see you guys next time. Peace, everybody.
Peace out.